All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Um, Jim's going to pump up my volume here a little bit. And let's see how that is. There we go. That's better. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Apologize, we had some technical difficulties here, but we're rocking and rolling now. You would think with all the great electronics minds in this room, we would be able to conquer the internet, but then again, here we are. So thank you for coming to the June edition of the Eyeball meeting of the South Texas Amateur Radio Club. My name is John Riley, KU5I. I am the club president. To my left here is Jim Wilkin, N5VL. Who is our club vice president, and over here is Adam, who is our secretary and treasurer. And we're going to do a little bit of a round robin here in just a minute so everybody can introduce themselves and we can get to know each other. A quick rundown of what we're going to do tonight. We're going to cover a little business. We have some club business. I'm going to fill you in on what happened at the board meeting that we had on Saturday. We have some updates on repeaters and our newly formed USS Lexington committee. I'd love to hear how Beach to Bay went, and we're going to talk about Field Day, which is this coming Saturday. So all good stuff. At the end of that, we're going to switch to our content for the evening, which is awesome. We're really looking forward to that. So with that, I will pass the mic to, I already introduced these two gentlemen. I'll pass the mic to Mr. Joel, and you can introduce yourself and pass it around.
My name's Joel, W1JTD. I'm the Lexington liaison to the board. So I'm on board the Lexington on Tuesday mornings every week.
My name is Wayne, call sign Kilo 5 November Charlie Whiskey. I'm one of the board members of the Star Club, and like Joel, I operate the Lexington on a fairly regular basis. So anybody wants to come down, operate the Lex, or just look, get in contact with any of the board members here, and we'll make arrangements to get you down and maybe operate on the Lex.
Ron, KJ5 New Tech, after about a month or two now. Anyway.
The mic's already.
Delta KJ5 BJH.
Good evening. I'm Bill Tepper, the K5WHT, West Oaks Courthouse Deal. How y'all doing? I'm Keith. I'm KJ5 GGA. I'm also the radio operator on Baystar, K5 BYC.
I'm David, AF5NF. I was the original license holder for
I'm Gabriel, Kilo Golf 5, Zulu X Rectangle. I'm a general ham operator, however, I never changed my license. And I do my due diligence to represent Star across the nation in my work travels.
Hello, my name is Augie Garcia, and I'm November 1 Yankee, November Zulu, extra.
I'm Brian, Kilo Juliet 5, Charlie Mike. I'm a general for about 2 months now.
Hey, I'm Roy Coughlin, that's KG5 ZGR. Getting started again on radio. And I'm deaf, by the way, I don't hear anything, so kind of a new challenge for me, but I can read what you say, so it's good.
My name is Jeff, KO5D, live in Aransas Pass, and I help Eric Blanchard with the repeaters on either side. So if you have a problem with one of those, throw a rock at me and get my attention.
Alan, KK5 RSQ.
Doug Wells, K5HDF.
Miguel Garza, I'm out of west of Fremont, Jim Wilkes County, and I'm working on it also.
K5BXN. K5BXN, I'm one of the directors, board directors, also in races, stay very busy.
My name is Rick Salinas, Kilo 5, Romeo Sierra Romeo. Hi, I'm Dee Hawkins. I'm the Nueces County Emergency Manager. I don't have a call sign, so I'm not as cool as you guys, but glad to be here. No, I'm technically challenged, but I am appreciative to be here and learn more about y'all and what you can do to help us out in the county.
Almost there.
I'm Sarah Johnson. I am here with my husband, who is.
Yeah, hi everybody, I'm Chase Johnson, I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Corpus Christi.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're all here. We're evidently having some mic range problems, so maybe I'll just give it to the expert.
Check, 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 check. Well, there's no check.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a 2018 inductee to the Radio Engineers Hall of Fame right there, Mr. Jim Wilkin. And I know that because he wears a shirt every now and then. So once again, I'm John. Just covering a little bit of business. As I mentioned, we had a board meeting this last week, and we are still working on our bylaws. We're going to be voting on those today. We had a reading of them last meeting, and they've been published for some time. So hopefully, of all our club members there this evening, we can take a vote and give a yay or nay to those. One of the big pushes for that, and the reason why we're doing that, is to become more digital, so we have more access at a wider spectrum for people to be able to look at the club finances. And we want to be an open book, and we have been an open book, but that open book has been a piece of paper that's in somebody's car that is not where you want to talk to them when they need to be where you want them to be. And Ham Club Online will allow everybody who's a club member to look at all of that sort of stuff at any time, and that's one of the major things that we're pushing for the bylaw changes. So hopefully we can get that done today, and that'll be awesome. In other business things that we covered, we talked about repeaters. I'm going to pass the mic here to just a moment to Mr. Jim to talk about repeaters and races, and then of course the Lexington, as I mentioned. So with that, Mr. Wilkin, I'll pass the mic to you to talk about some repeaters.
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate it. I really wanted to welcome our special guests tonight, Jace and Dee, for being here. They are the emergency management coordinators and make everybody safe around here. So we appreciate you being here. Jace is going to do a little presentation when we're through with the business part. As far as the repeaters go, the repeater committee met last week and everything is working. Everything's working as it should. We are waiting for approval from the MOU for the Crossroads Club to take over the ownership and operation of the All-Star repeater. When ours went down, they put theirs in. We offered to buy it and they said no, but we will leave it there. So we're going to allow them to do that. They will own it and we will supply the power to it and the antenna and everything, so it will continue to work as it is on 442.25 at 600 feet on the KZFM tower. So this will relieve us of the financial responsibility for that repeater, and so that's always a good thing. The inventory of the club still in progress. We're working on that. As far as Aries goes, we are still looking for a liaison to the club. They apparently have lost a lot of members, and so if you're in Aries and you would like to be the liaison between the club, because we're an Aries club, and the group, we would love for somebody to pick up on that. As far as races goes, we have some interesting information. I was contacted by the Regional Advisory Committee of the Council of Governments recently, and they've offered to pay for a repeater on Spawn South and WinLink stations in all of the hospitals. If the system comes to fruition, which we'll know by the end of the month because it is the end of their fiscal year. And so if they move forward with this, we will need operators for all of the hospitals. And I don't care if you're in Races, Aries, or not affiliated with any organization, we need somebody to volunteer to run the WinLink stations at the hospitals. That is pretty much everything as far as the repeaters go. Do we have any questions? Okie doke, John?
Thank you, Jim. Yes, sir.
This would need to be run 24/7 or what?
I'm sorry?
Do those WinLink systems need to be run 24/7?
No, they will be brought up when it is required.
when the hospital wants to activate it in an emergency or a drill. I don't think they're probably gonna do too many drills, but we will need somebody there if we get a storm or other natural disaster. We don't think of anything beyond a storm.
I was gonna say, like that volcano we're all waiting for, right? Yeah, anything that occurs natural disasters, of course, is a storm around here. Just for curiosity, everybody know what WinLink is here? Do we need to explain what that is, just out of curiosity? Anybody not know what WinLink is? Okay, so WinLink is a system that allows us to exchange emails over the radio. And we can use radio systems so we're able to transmit information, and that is the system that Austin is switching to for RACES for communication between us and DPS, and so it's evidently also transferring to the hospitals. We do drills right now using Telnet with WinLink, which is kind of cheating a little bit because you are using the internet, but you're using like a 40-year-old technology on the internet, so it's kind of like radio, I guess. But evidently we're going to switch to be able to do that using radio. Another thing, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, when they put the new tower, I don't remember if it's DPS or department or who is, but the new tower at Leopard and SPID, TxDOT, that will also be a WinLink, correct?
We're gonna have everything.
Okay, excellent. So that'll also be a WinLink. So that's what WinLink is. Okay, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Joel to talk about the Lexington.
All right, the 7th and 8th of this month, earlier this month, we had the Museum Ships Weekend, and we were able to contact 19 other ships and close to 100 ship-to-person contacts. That information is getting submitted now to the USS New Jersey battleship, which runs the weekend. It's not a contest, it's a fun thing, and we had a lot of fun. Things going on the Lexington. Currently, the Scanty, our 750 watt station, is down, and we're trying to figure out what's going on there. Probably as a result of several power outages that the ship experienced, and they had problems all over the place. Don't expect that it's serious, but we're going to get back on that. Additionally, with the ship, we have talked to the head of their displays and exhibits, and we're going to have a window cut into the new radio room that we have so that we can have a display, a static display of radios there. In the old main radio room, we have several clean units that we can bring down and display. They've wanted a radio display for some time, and so we're trying to make some progress on that. They've been very helpful on the ship as far as painting and giving us the new room and air conditioning. We have air conditioning and heat in there, so if anybody wants to come by, it's a great room. We've got tables, new chairs. It's pretty nice setup now. So you don't have to go up the ladders, squeeze through the doors like you had to previously to go to the old, the main radio room. I'm going to let David, AF5NF, talk to you about some further improvements, changes we're making at this time, because he's kind of heading that up.
Yeah, thank you. I've got a couple of, is this even, do I need it?
It's going out to the internet, so if we can't hear it, it's still going out.
Yeah. I've got a couple of handouts on each table, and they're a little bit of history of what to me is ham radio's finest hour. During the Vietnam conflict, when we had Marines and soldiers on fire bases in the middle of nowhere on hilltops or whatever, who had no contact with home for 5 or 6 months at a time, Commons donated 80 KWM2 transceivers and linear amplifiers to the military to use so that the Mars network could phone patch these guys to make phone calls back home. And they did hundreds of thousands of phone calls. I was in high school at the time, and I did a few phone patches, but I listened to a lot of them, and it was just amazing that these guys would hear about their new baby for the first time, or sometimes, sadly, their girlfriend married somebody else. At least, you know, it was their one contact with the world. I decided to make my project to recreate this exact station you see in this picture. This was taken in 1966 in Vietnam. So I have assembled together all of the equipment that's in that picture, all the Collins equipment. We have the linear amplifier on board, one of those, and I replaced all the diodes, capacitors, and resistors in the power supply, and it works beautifully. And then the other power supply that's on the right above the phone patch, I've just finished replacing that. The KWM2 transceiver, which is in the middle, I ordered a refurbished one from a company in New England that does that process. So I'm going to put that together, and I don't know where it's going to go yet, but we're going to do that exact station with an exhibit about ham radio's role in the military on the Lexington.
Just a quick reminder too for everyone. David's also our QSL manager, so all those contacts we made this past weekend, he's going to get many more letters and get to respond to them. Just wanted to remind you, club members are allowed to go on board. You don't have to pay. It's best if you contact me or one of the board members just to smooth things and get, so we know someone's coming on board. We do have the rooms locked up for security now. We also have, yes?
QSL for those that don't know?
What's that?
QSL for those that
Oh,
don't
I'm
know?
sorry. QSL's, when we make a contact on the radio, you can send a card with your name and when the contact was, and we send one back. And of course, the USS Lexington is very, very popular. There's an example there that David's got where he just received one. He'll respond to that.
We have a nice card with a picture, a picture of the ship with the aircraft on it.
Yeah. And additionally, we keep a membership, a Dauntless membership with the USS Lexington, so you can come yourself, bring your family, we can get you on board. It gives you a token for free parking, and you can tour the ship. That's a club benefit that we maintain every year. This will probably be eligible for you guys as well if you want to come. I'm sure one of us would be happy to make that happen. Because the ship is going through a lot of changes, just in general. Besides radio, the new Women in the Navy is open, and that is a very technologically advanced display, much more than anything else we've ever had. And it's getting really high marks so far from everyone on the tours. So that's all I've got this week or month for Lexington. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate that. And he did not mention that Joel is our new chairman of the Lexington Committee, right? So one of the things we're doing as a board is we're trying to create committees for members to be able to be a part of, things that they're interested in. We created a committee for repeaters a couple of months ago. Now we've created a Lexington Committee, and over the course of the next year, we'll create a few more to give us more outreach and more ability for folks within the club to take part in the club doing things that they're passionate about. So very happy about that. I'm going to pass over to Rusty real quick because I'd love to hear about Beach to Bay and hear how that went.
My name is Rusty, K5BXN, and we did the Beach to Bay this year. We've done it. Get on this side. I can get on this side.
Yep, there you go.
We've done the Beach to Bay for quite some years now, and this year we had more volunteers than I've ever had since I've been here doing the Beach to Bay. I really enjoyed it, and the role of a ham operator at Beach to Bay is basically communication. So everyone is waiting for us to say, where the runners are at, and we're actually timing them as well. So every time somebody calls, we write the number down, whatever's on the first on shirt, and we write down the time. So we kind of figure out who's coming in first and who's coming in dead last. So we figure out the times. Okay, the guy in last place, we figure out where is he at, how long he's taking it, and that's how we determine how long the race is going to be. So everyone, whether on every leg, is asking information. You know, what's going on, who's winning, what's the race, and we're transmitting back and forth. I mean, and almost every minute, back and forth on information. We didn't have any injuries that I know of. Okay, and the people, we had over 8,000 runners that signed up and ran, and we actually got a couple of guys, a couple of police officers in Corpus that want to be ham operators who came and talked to us while we were there. We talked to them and give them some information, and hopefully they'll show up. And during the Beach to Bay, there's a lot of people that are there, right? And the guys, I mean, I can't say it. They did a really great job, and I was really proud of them and appreciate the hard work, because it made everyone else's job just as easy, because everyone else is working really hard. Okay, so basically we had a successful Beach to Bay this year, and it's really important that we're there every year, because I was really busy helping the nurses in the water and the chairs and tables, me and some of the guys, and K5ENT, Ken, he stepped in and started running the radio like if it was, you know, it's his own, basically, right? So he did a really great job. The ham operators stepped in when they needed to, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we had a great outcome. Everything was good. Other than being hot, mosquitoes, everything was fine.
Awesome. Well, cool. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. And that's an example of, you know, what I'm talking about with outreach. What we do in the community, the things we do for the community at large using radio. Our next big event is Summer Field Day, which is this coming Saturday. For our guests, worldwide ham radio operators sort of get together and contest twice a year, Winter Field Day and Summer Field Day, depending on which hemisphere you're in. And all of the bands light up to the best of their ability, and there are contests to see how many contacts can be made, contests to see how far you can go, how low power you can go, how many countries you can get in that 48-hour period, so super cool stuff. The club participates on the Saturday portion of it. It is actually a weekend event, but we do it on a Saturday, and this summer we will be at the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History in their rotunda area there with a big tent. We'll be setting up there. Okay, we'll be setting up there. We'll have our club antenna at 30 feet, so we can hopefully make some good contacts. You can come and set up at 8:30. We'll actually get started at about 9 o'clock, and then there'll be a breakdown at about 5:30. There are restrooms and shade available there, both important things. In addition to that, while we're there, we're going to do a testing session, and I will pass the mic to Mr. Ermis to talk about testing.
Yeah, the testing time will be 2 p.m. So if you're ready to take tests for, who's shaking his head over there? If you're ready to take the technician test, please go to CORS, sign in, create an account, then go over to FCC and get your FRN number. Have your FRN number in place when you come to the testing session. Of course, you'll need the obligatory $15 fee and the photo ID. And if you're going for an upgrade, please remember to bring a copy of your license. They've promised us a very nice room this year, low noise, so you shouldn't have any interference. Just come on out and enjoy the test. Remember, you've been studying all this time to take the test. It's just a review. Relax and enjoy it. So other than that, we'll be thinking about our next test. We just had tests this month. So that was June, July, probably August will be our next regularly scheduled test. And we'll get back with you on the location, and the times on that. So come on out to field day, watch what's going on the radios if you haven't been on the radio before, or if you haven't been on the radio in a long time, we'll get you on there. We'll probably have, assume, a GOTA station again this year. That's get on the air and talk. And that's where a lot of the new people who've never been on the air before, just interested in ham radio, that's where you want to be, because you'll get hands-on experience.
Remember, since we're gonna have general and tech and extra operators there, we'll be using the club call. If you're a technician, you can come over and work HF on the club station.
So just to add that for the folks online, since we will be there with the club call, we will have generals and extras on site. Technicians can come and operate on HF using the club station, and we can usually get some pretty good stuff with our tower. So hopefully we'll be able to make some good contacts. And it's a lot of fun, you know. Like one of my favorite memories about radio was a couple of years ago. We had winter field day here, and we had one of our members who was 9 years old, really sharp girl. And she got on the radio, and man, was there a pileup of people wanting to log her call sign because, like, hey, that's super cool. That's a 9-year-old. I'm trying to get my 9-year-old into this. She's into everything except for the testing part. Loves the radio, loves the talking, not so much the taking the test part. So that covers all of the club business, unless any of the other board members have anything that I missed. Going once, going twice, I think we're good. Okay, so that was the beginning of the boring part. The second boring part is we're going to have a really quick vote on our bylaws. So just for my edification, can everybody who's an actual club member put your hand up? Let's see how many we got. Okay, we got a good set here. Okay, super. And were you aware before I said so that we've been talking about bylaws over the last couple of months? Okay, good, a lot of nodding heads there. Okay, so with that, we're going to go into a little bit of official standpoint. So may I have a motion to open a vote to modify the bylaws of the Corpus Christi, or the South Texas Amateur Radio Club? Thank you, sir. May I have a second? Thank you, Rusty, second. Okay, so we're going to now have a vote. All in favor of the modifications made that in the previous meeting, can I have an aye? Aye. Okay, and any opposed? You can say no, it's okay. All right, so that was all ayes, no opposed, the motion carries. We have a modification for the bylaws, sir. All right, excellent. That went way super easy. I'm really happy about that. Not that I didn't think it would, because there are, good changes there, but you never know. Whenever you go to votes, it's get kind of crazy. Okay, so with that, that's the end of the boring stuff. I'm going to pass it over to Jason, who is our guest of the evening, and we can have a presentation. So thank you so much for coming, and I'll pass you the baton.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah. No worries. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. Like it was announced, my name is Jace Johnson. I am the relatively new emergency management coordinator for the city of Corpus Christi. I walked into the shoes of Mr. Billy Delgado, who had been in the position for, I think, 13, 14. We're not really sure exactly how many years he was in that position. But I know he did a fantastic job of building a great foundation, and it's big shoes to walk into, even though he would deny me saying that. Within the city of emergency management, some things that are important to know is that all city employees for Corpus Christi are considered essential. Right, so if they don't have a waiver or they're not department essential, they all have a secondary role. And of those secondary roles, we're broken into 14 teams. One of them is the Emergency Operations Center. There's some refuge centers, evacuation team. There's our points of distribution, IT, volunteer donations management, internal food. So we're pretty well organized on our teams, how they're broken up, our training processes and programs that we have in place that we walk through, every year before hurricane season. So we're a pretty solid team. Now, the joy that I have is I was handed a pretty nice car, right? A pretty well-running machine. right? And I have the joy of being able to say, oh, well, how can we put a new stereo in? How can we put some new tires on it? How can we throw in a turbo? Things like that, which is where I thrive, right? It's what I like to do, and I can tell you that from all honesty, in the year and a half plus that I've been on, that this city's in good shape. We're pretty wired tight. The fire department, which my office is within the fire department, we have a great leadership team there. They're very proactive, very forward-leaning. In one of our meetings this morning, the comment was made, we're not going to stop. We've made great strides, but every day we're going to push the envelope and see, what is it that we can do better? Because the reality is everything that we do, everything that our office does, for the most part, I can narrow it down to one thing, and that is to not miss anybody, right? At the end of the day, if we have a storm, we have an emergency, we have to evacuate, everything that we do comes down to taking care of the public, taking care of our employees, taking care of the teams, but making sure that we don't miss anybody. Now, what is the reality? The reality is odds are somebody's going to get missed, right? We'll never be ahead of the 8 ball, right? And I've been in emergency and disaster relief long enough. I'm okay with that. I understand it. But our litmus test is how close can we get to that 8 ball? So this time of the year, the hurricane season's from June 1st to November 30th. Right now, we're in full steam ahead in our off season. We take a break, we take a breath, we work on some projects that we didn't get to before, starting to put new things in place. But as soon as we start heading into hurricane season, now it's the time to, again, communicate with the public, do presentations, get information out there, go to conferences, go to meetings and exercises, and make sure every year we're refreshing everybody, because the longer we go without a hurricane or that kind of event, the more complacent we come, right? It's just human nature, right? But we need to understand that Corpus Christi is an evacuation city, right? If you hear that the direction has been given in coordination with the Nueces County office and our office and our leaders, I can tell you, if that guidance is given, I can tell you a lot of blood, sweat, and tears has gone into making that decision. Because the reality is you're darned if you do, and you're darned if you don't. It's a kind of a lose-lose situation, right? But if that decision is given, we want everybody to evacuate. We don't want anybody to stay behind. If it's a Category 5, we all might be evacuating and coming back in after the fact, right? Because all the rules are off when you get into that kind of a storm, which I know well. I had a chance to speak with the Red Cross just the other night, and I mentioned to them, in my time, I've been in this business for since 1997. The first 16 years was in Alaska. I've seen 90% of Alaska, and the other 10% I'm okay with not seeing, right? It's okay. There's something about a honey bucket and seal meat that I just don't jive with all that well. I've worked in the private sector, the public sector, state, local, federal government, nonprofit. I've worked in the US, Europe, Central America, Africa, doing all kinds of responses. We joked about volcanoes earlier, and I've actually worked volcanoes in Guatemala. And I'll tell you that when we have, no matter, this is worldwide, this is just how it is. People need to understand that as regulators, as government, as first responders, we need to have confidence in ourselves, right? You guys wouldn't appreciate us if we just walked around meepy like little squirrels. But the reality is that there's only so many of us. People need to understand that there's only so much the government can do. There's only so much the fire can do. There's only so much the police can do. And especially if we have a situation to where the storm's big enough, we're having to worry about our own homes, our own families, all of those situations. So what I'm getting at is it's up to each one of us right? To look out for one another, to make sure that, and this is what I've raised my family as our kind of our mantra, are you a liability or are you an asset in everything you do, right? And we want to make sure that for our home, for our family, for our neighborhood, for our work, for our house of worship, wherever it is, are we an asset or are we a liability? And are we helping others around us figure out which side of that spectrum that they're on? Because reality, it comes down to there are limitations what our responders and our government can do, and it comes down to us taking care of it. Now, when we have a disaster, those limitations, those things, that we find those out really quick, but we're going to have volunteers, we're going to have other organizations that do this. You got your Samaritan's Purse, your Red Cross, your Salvation Army, Team Rubicon. There's a lot of great organizations out there, and they'll come fast. They'll come with the big guns. They'll come heavy, but they'll leave fast as well, right? Because emergencies keep happening all around the world. I mean, we're in a situation now to where a majority of us, especially following COVID, have what we call compassion fatigue. There's just been one thing after another, and you don't have any time to like recalibrate, process this kind of stuff before you're thrown back into another disaster. So with that said, talking about the importance of taking care of ourselves, taking care of our families, having a plan, encouraging others to have plans, and there's plenty of information. The things that I handed to you in the documentation, go into our website, YouTube. There's more information now on what being prepared for, what having a plan looks like. But what I'm getting at is with our volunteers, that's a crucial part of what we do. And I look at our ham radio, our amateur radio operators as a crucial part of what it is we do. I can say you're the unsung heroes. May you never be needed, right? But brother, I'll tell you, if we get to that kind of moment that you're needed, we're going to be damn sure glad that you're there, right? We understand the value of that. So what have we done in Corpus Christi at the EOC with regard to, and those of you that don't know, we're at the old Frost Bank building across the street from Corpus Christi Electric. You know, that goofy looking building that you wonder what was the architect thinking? That's where we are. We're the fourth floor. Mostly the whole building is fire. Recently we have undergone updating all of our ham radio equipment with the help of Mr. Jim. So I can tell you that our goal is, correct me if I'm wrong, is basically we're mimicking what's at DPS, right? We're trying to make sure everything's streamlined, it's the right kind of equipment, but our goal is to have a professional setup there. Where it's going to be located is in a room that we have recently refurbished as part of the Metrocom or dispatch for 911. It's the backup for that team should they not be able to work where they're working now. And so we have a secure facility there. But with that said, we're going to need help, right? I have my technician license. Unfortunately, I don't even remember my call sign. Right, I'm embarrassed to say that. I'm sorry in the room here, but we shouldn't have the capacity. We need that professionalism to help us to run that, to maintain it, to do all those things. And we're looking at this group here, right? We're looking at these teams here. How is it that you can help us? How can we help you? How can we support each other? Because we understand that when we lose, and I can tell you, Corpus Christi's got a pretty robust communication system, and it's only getting better. A lot of time and effort's gone into, microwave, all that kind of stuff. But we lose that for whatever reason, we lose, we're going to have Starlink back up. But if we need to, to rely on the amateur radio, now as we're talking about, the hospitals are wanting to have that as well. We know the value of it and we're committed to it, right? We believe in this team. We believe in this art. Because to me, it's an art, right? It's just, you get into wavy lines and all that kind of stuff. What else can you call it but art, right? But we're just very thankful for you here. And, a lot of stuff I shared, the county, we work hand in hand together. We have our presentation almost looks identical. But with that said, it's important to understand, not only can I talk for the city that, we're pretty solid, we're pretty squared away, but we also and Dee, I think will stand by me on this, we work with our regional partners, whether it's local governments, whether it's federal government, whether it's tribal, whatever, but also with our regional partners with the other counties. All of Coastal Bend, Coastal Plains, all of the EMCs, we know each other, we're there to support each other, we're there to work together, we communicate all the time, and we know that we're there, should a disaster happen. Because if we get in a storm big enough like that affects us, it's gonna affect one county this way, one county that way, a couple of counties over that way, and really, we work in it, we're all together, right? We're all in this together. So, is there any questions that anybody has that I'd be happy to take any questions about Corpus Christi? And I'm sorry, I only had 15 minutes and I had to talk fast.
Is the radio room you have already set up?
Well, no. It's, let me give you a little bit. So it was in the past a secondary backup for dispatch. Then they moved over to the airport as their secondary, and that equipment just kind of sat there. Recently, they're not able to work dispatch as a backup at the airport anymore. So basically, we gutted that room, got the old carpet out, cleaned everything up, and we're setting all the dispatch equipment up in there. But we have space, we have a cabinet and all of that, and we have all the radio equipment. We just need to make the connections and upgrade and make sure that our antennas up on the roof are working. But we're ready to take that next step. You have anything to add on?
Thank you, Jace. Thank you very much. We appreciate all of your information. And by the way, your call is KI5QET. I looked it up.
Thank you. Thanks for looking that up.
Dee, is there anything you would like to add about the county?
We're not as advanced as the city when it comes to ham radio, being in the county, in the rural areas, and funding. That's a really important thing. But like Jay said, we work hand in hand. So knowing that he's got that capability, we just piggyback on the city. We know that we've got Tatum, we know we've got Racy's, so I think we're covered. But I'm appreciative that Rick invited me today, because my deputy EMC, Kathy Ardblattner, is actually a licensed ham radio operator. She's not part of this club, but after tonight, maybe she should be.
Great.
But I'm very impressed with you guys, and I'm very proud to be here tonight and learn a lot more about what y'all are doing, and definitely the county will be watching and being more involved in the future. And like I said, Jason and we have each other on speed dial. Every EMC around the counties, we're all on speed dial. We work together very closely. So we appreciate everything you guys do. It is an art.
Thank you, Dee, and thank you for coming tonight.
Indeed. Just a quick comment. Anybody who's tried to set up an antenna knows sometimes it's hard, right? Because you're like, this should not work, or this should work, and yet it goes the opposite direction. So thank you so much for doing that, Jason. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming. We love to have guests. Sometimes we all we're hams and we hide in our little holes, and we like to talk to people far away, but we love to talk to new people in person too. We're going to close the meeting out. I believe there's a raffle. Is that correct, Mr. James? I saw you passing out tickets. So we do a raffle at the end of every meeting. We will do that. Let's see where we're going here. Who's going to be your Vanna White tonight? So it looks like, okay, that's going to be Adam. He's the guy that controls the money, so he's trustworthy, right? Okay, so here